you have a headache. In 2026, you take a pill and it's gone in 20 minutes. In ancient Egypt, you had two options. Option 1, rub a dead mouse on your head. Option 2, drill a hole in your skull. And somehow, both of these were considered perfectly reasonable medical treatments. Welcome to ancient medicine, where the cure was usually worse than the disease. Let's start with the Egyptians, because ancient Egypt was genuinely impressive in many ways. They built the pyramids. They developed one of the first writing systems. They created incredible art and architecture that has survived thousands of years. And they also put dead mice in their mouths to cure toothaches. This is documented in the Ebers Papyrus, the same ancient medical document that recommended crocodile dung for contraception. If you have a toothache, a mashed dead mouse applied directly to the tooth was the prescription. And if that sounds bad, they also used animal dung for wound treatment. Dog dung, gazelle dung, donkey dung, applied directly to open wounds to help them heal. The fact that this didn't immediately kill everyone who tried it is one of history's great medical mysteries. Now let's talk about bloodletting. Because for over 3,000 years, from ancient Egypt all the way to the 1800s, doctors were absolutely convinced that the solution to almost every illness was to drain your blood. Fever? Drain the blood. Infection? Drain the blood. Feeling tired? Drain the blood. The theory was that the human body had 4 fluids: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile, and that illness was caused by these fluids being out of balance. The solution was obviously to remove as much blood as possible until you felt better. Or until you passed out. Whichever came first. And here's the genuinely horrifying part. This practice lasted so long that even George Washington was treated with bloodletting. In 1799, Washington became ill with what was probably a severe throat infection. His doctors drained almost half the blood in his body over the course of a single day. He died shortly afterward. Historians believe the bloodletting very likely contributed to his death. The father of the United States may have been killed by his own doctors. Moving on to ancient Rome, where they had some very creative solutions to some very serious problems, Roman physicians discovered a cure for rabies, and that cure was raw veal wrapped around the wound, followed by a mixture of hog fat and lime, followed by a special drink made from boiled badger dung mixed with wine. Boiled, badger, dung, wine. This was served to the patient as medicine. And the doctor presumably stood there with complete professional confidence while the patient drank it. The Romans were also big fans of urine as medicine. Urine was used as a mouthwash, as a teeth whitener, as a treatment for skin conditions, and as laundry detergent. Fresh urine, aged urine, any urine really. The Romans were remarkably open-minded about whose urine and when. But nothing in ancient medicine compares to trepanation. Trepanation is the practice of drilling a hole in a living person's skull. On purpose. As medicine. The earliest evidence of trepanation dates back 7,000 years. 7,000 years of humans drilling holes in other humans' heads. It was used to treat headaches, seizures, mental illness, and basically anything the doctor couldn't explain. The theory was that evil spirits or pressure inside the skull needed a way out. So you made a door with a drill. And here's the most disturbing part. It sometimes worked. Some trepanation patients survived. We know this because the skulls show signs of bone regrowth around the hole, meaning the person lived long enough for the bone to start healing. A hole in the head, and you kept living. Ancient humans were tougher than we give them credit for. And then there's mercury. Mercury, one of the most toxic substances known to science, was used as medicine for thousands of years. Ancient Chinese alchemists drank it believing it would extend their lifespan. It did not extend their lifespan. Ancient Persians and Greeks used it as an ointment for skin conditions. It gave them neurological damage instead. And right up until the 1900s, mercury was used to treat syphilis. Patients were rubbed with mercury ointment or made to inhale mercury vapors in sealed rooms. The treatment was so toxic that patients would lose their teeth, their hair, and sometimes their minds. The common saying at the time was ziaf, a night with Venus, a lifetime with Mercury, which sounds poetic until you understand what it actually means. So what does all of this tell us? Ancient humans were not stupid. They were genuinely trying to help people. They just had almost no understanding of how the human body actually worked. No germ theory, no understanding of infection, no concept of toxic substances. They observed, they experimented, they recorded what seemed to work, and sometimes it actually did work. Moldy bread was used to treat infected wounds in ancient Egypt, and we now know mold produces penicillin. They stumbled onto real medicine by accident, while also drilling holes in people's heads and feeding them badger dung wine. The history of medicine is basically a long series of terrible ideas, occasionally interrupted by accidental genius. And every single step of it, no matter how disgusting, brought us closer to the world where you can take a pill and your headache is gone in 20 minutes. So next time you swallow a painkiller, take a moment to appreciate that it isn't made of badger dung. Drop a comment below. Which ancient remedy horrified you the most? Subscribe for more ideas that change how you see the world, and watch this next, because the next one is just as wild.